Welcome back to the MMA YouTube channel. I started this channel last year with extreme passion to break down and predict fight cards like this one right here. So without further ado, we're going to click off buying tickets to Power Slap, and I'm going to break down and predict some fights for you because this shit gets me going, man. Like, Derick Lewis, man. My balls are hot just thinking about, I'm not even on the fight card yet, thinking about breaking down this card against Tallison Teixeira on his second fight in the UFC, headlining. Man, I could not be more stoked. If you guys didn't guess already, this is sarcasm. I told myself I would break down and predict, all the UFC fights, all the UFC cards, as my kind of contribution to this sport that I'm training as a side hustle and also competing in. But I really enjoyed growing up, like watching UFC fights and then getting into YouTube MMA, watching all the guys like Guru and those guys, and Tracy, obviously, Flukas. All those guys break down fights. I enjoyed it. It was exciting for me to get even more excited about a big fight card. But watching predictions leading into this week and actually looking at what fights were on the card made me less excited for this card. Because let's be honest, this card, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. We had a great last card. Then we had a week off, no? I think last week was off. And then we have a shit card again. It's just, I don't know, man. I've been making some ONE FC videos because at least they have some consistently good cards. This is a pretty bad card, but we're gonna break it down anyways because we got my GOAT, Derick the Fridge Lewis. I actually was rolling with a guy like kind of built like that at the MMA gym, or jiu-jitsu gym, not MMA gym, and tore my LCL, partially torn LCL because those guys are units, man. Anyways. Fatima Klein versus Melissa Martinez. We're not going to dive too deep into this one. Fatima Klein's like a huge favorite in this fight. 1,200. Negative 1,200. Is that how you say it? Yeah, I guess so. Anyways, big favorite. They're both kind of chopped. Fatima Klein's just kind of a bit better everywhere and a little bit stronger. And she's probably just going to, I would say, like, bully Melissa Martinez a little bit. Melissa Martinez is okay, but like a lot of the stuff she does, and I do this too, I'm trying to do this as much in sparring, fighting, whatever. She has a lot of like flicky kicks and stuff like that that are like, they're landing, but like you could eat it clean and it's not going to do shit. Like, it doesn't have a lot of sting on it, so I don't think like that stuff's going to slow Fatima Klein down. I can see it helping Melissa Martinez kind of outpoint somebody like Fatima Klein, but I don't think that'll be the case. So I'm going with Fatima Klein. I think she's just going to win this fight. I'm not going to look too deep into that one. We got my GOAT, Mike Davis. Dude, from the moment I watched this guy's fight, I was like, he's going to be the GOAT. And then he didn't end up being the GOAT, but he's still pretty good. I think Mike Davis is better than Mitch Ramirez. Mitch Ramirez isn't bad. He's not a bad fighter by any means. But I don't think he gets past somebody like Mike Davis. Mike Davis is, we always talk about natural athletes, athletic people. He's a very naturally athletic person. And then as you can see from his shape, he's in great shape. He's not just naturally athletic, he's very technical and cerebral when he fights. And he's just a really well-rounded fighter. Like, his striking is clean, it's crisp. He's not throwing crazy shots. It's technical. He knows how to think when he's striking and adapt to whatever's happening. His grappling is really good. He's got good takedowns. He's got good grappling, submissions, and stuff like that. I think he's just a very well-rounded, good fighter everywhere, and a naturally athletic person. I think over the years, Mike Davis is somebody we can see like in the top 10 of this division, for sure. But not right now. But he is good. I think he's very good. And I think he's had some really close fights. Like, he's lost a couple close decisions, had a couple things like this. Like his last fight against, I believe, Frasiem. Like, it was a good fight. It was a really good back and forth fight. He lost a close decision, so, which I think with a couple adjustments, you could make sure you win that fight on points. But yeah, I think he gets through Mitch Ramirez. Mitch Ramirez gasses out a little bit. Mike Davis he has a good gas tank for his output, but not like an insane gas tank. But I think Mike Davis is going to get it done. I just don't see an area which Mitch Ramirez is better than Mike Davis in, and I think for the most part he's not going to fluke like a KO. He's not going to sub Mike Davis, I don't think so. I think Mike Davis is going to get this one done. He's a big favorite as well. We got 2 big favorites back to back. Then we got this geriatric looking motherfucker. I mean, 2 of them, man. This guy's like just staring at me like he's at a Clash of Clans. And Walter Walker could also be at a Clash of Clans, I'm not going to lie. Kennedy Nezuchuku versus Walter Walker. Walter Walker is kind of like, I mean, his first fight in the UFC, I watched him and I was like, oh my god, this guy like should never even have stepped foot in this place. He sucks. But then next fight, he looked actually, vastly improved. He has a good submission game for heavyweight. He likes to go for heel hooks and stuff like that. Wouldn't really work in any other weight divisions, but all the people in heavyweight are kind of just fat and unathletic, and they just get scared and tap. So, do I see him getting a heel hook in this fight? No. Or submission that way, like lock or whatever? No. But I do think he has a chance of winning the fight. I think for the most part, Kennedy Nezuchuku is probably the better athlete and definitely the better striker in this fight. I think he's probably going to get the win. But Walter Walker has a chance of winning this fight. I would say 70% Kennedy Nezuchuku, and for that reason, I'm going to go with him. I don't think I could see him TKOing Walter Walker, but I'm going to go with Kennedy Nezuchuku by submission. -20, it's 200, it's close, but yeah, I think Kennedy Nezuchuku will win a decision. I don't think he's going to get Walter Walker out of there, but I don't think Walter Walker's going to take him down and sub him either, so. Lerone the Frog Murphy versus Edwa Amora. This girl looks like an angry grandma. But I've always liked Lerone Murphy. I think she's a good fighter. I think she's not like an insanely great women's fighter, but I think she's a good women's fighter. I think she's well-rounded. She's had some good fights. She's fought the top level of competition in the division, whereas Eduardo Amora is a little bit newer in the division. But I do think Eduardo Amora is probably better. She's definitely younger. She's definitely going to be hungrier and pushing for a title fight. So it's W on me. I think Lerone Murphy is a little bit washed, and she was never did really, really good against the top level of competition in this division. So I'm going to go for the younger, more hungry fighter in this one. Chidi Njokuani versus Jake Matthews. Holy shit. This is a banger, boys. This is an absolute banger. This is what we get hyped up for, staying up till 12 o'clock to watch this fight card on a random Saturday. Chidi's, I think, probably better in the striking, probably better everywhere, to be honest, a little bit better of an athlete. Jake Matthews isn't bad, though. Jake Matthews is a good fighter. I think, all in all, for the most part, everybody's going to have Chidi winning it, but it could be, not everybody, I guess spells are pretty close, but it's going to be a pretty, back and forth fight. It just depends on if I think Chidi can keep him at range and just kind of piece him up and defend takedowns and just not get absolutely mogged. Jake Matthews is probably going to, I don't think he's going to outstrike Chidi at range. Let's see, is the range difference? There's a pretty big range difference, or reach difference and height difference, so I don't think he's going to try to stand at range and then outbox, outstrike, outkickbox Chidi Njokuani. But I do think he's going to have to close the distance and pressure him and kind of make it a gritty, grimy fight. Maraud him, as some people would say. Do I think he can do that? Yes. Do I think he can do that effectively enough to win a decision or finish the fight? No. I think he'll have moments where he kind of starts to mog Chidi, but Chidi will be able to move his, either reverse the position to get off the fence or, go out to the outside, get off the fence eventually, or just break the clinch and start piecing him up at range again. I think the biggest thing for Chidi Njokuani is he has to keep the output there. A lot of these guys that like to fight at range, they like to counter strike. They don't have as high of output, and then they'll lose a decision battle, always on the back foot. You can't if you're going to play this game where you want to strike at range with somebody and they're going to try to close the distance, you have to make sure, no matter what, that you are up on the scorecards in terms of strikes thrown. So if he can keep up and stay ahead of Jake Matthews on strikes thrown, I don't think he's going to knock Jake Matthews out either. Could happen, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's going to be whether Chidi can keep it at range and make sure he outpoints Jake Matthews and doesn't get, grinded down, but we'll see. I think it's a close fight. I'm going to go with Chidi, though. Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. Dude, another banger. Chris Curtis has actually got a crazy build as well, dude. He's like 80% upper body. He's not all upper body, but he's just got this, like, it looks like his training for MMA, like gym training for MMA, is just going and hitting buys and tries and chest. That's like literally it. People hype Chris Curtis up like he's a really, really good like fighter. I actually really don't think Chris Curtis is like that good of a fighter. I think he's a good fighter. He hits hard, but he's very stationary. He's very flat-footed. He's not very athletic. He's kind of got the Sean Strickland S5 where he literally only uses like two things. He pretty much only uses his boxing. That's it. And his boxing's pretty good, but like people like this, it's so like, in my opinion, just blast them with like calf kicks at range and stuff like that. Like he's not gonna like athletically jump in and hit you with a shot. He's flat-footed. Like I don't know. There's a lot of opportunities to do well against Chris Curtis. You just have to not get hit with a big shot. Pretty much his only goal is to come in and try to hit you with a big shot. So he's gonna get takedown defense and stuff like that. It's basically like, can you just piece him out without getting hit with a big shot? And you're gonna outrank Chris Curtis. Like he's not gonna throw more than you. So do I think Max Griffin is better than Chris Curtis? No, I don't. I think Chris Curtis is probably better than Max Griffin. I think he'll probably beat Max Griffin, but I don't think Max Griffin's that bad of a fighter. The odds are -300 for Chris Curtis. I think it could be closer. A lot of the times when you see a Chris Curtis fight like this, I feel like the other person could win a decision if Chris Curtis doesn't rock them or hit them with something big, right? I think if Max Griffin stays ahead, similar to the other fight, throws two shots to every one of Chris Curtis's, 3 shots to every one of Chris Curtis's, whenever there's a lull in the action, just like blast him with like a little calf kick or something like that, just touch him. I think he can win on points, and then just like try to stand his ground, not get hit with anything clean when they close distance. But Chris Curtis isn't very athletic. He doesn't cut off the cage super well for a guy who wants to track you down and throw big shots. He's just following you around. He's flat-footed. He's just going to follow you around the cage, so you can kind of get out of range pretty easily. So I think it's Max Griffin's fight to make himself a live dog in. I do think Chris Curtis is probably going to win because Max Griffin won't do those things, and he's also not a really, really good fighter. But I do think this is where Chris Curtis loses to better fighters in this division. But it'll be an entertaining fight, I think, to say the least. Like I think the last 2 fights, Chitty and Jake Matthews and Chris Curtis and Max Griffin are interesting fights. Walter Walker fight sucks. Mike Davis fight will be good. So we have like 50% of the fights that will be okay so far. But whatever. Next we have to deal with fucking Tukos Tacos and Junior Tafa. Tacos versus literally my fucking Australian uncle from the barbecue. Like, dude, oh man, I can't. This is like Eamon Zahabo like on a fat camp. Tacos versus Junior Tafa. And man, Junior Tafa, I mean, I know we see some videos. Junior Tafa's looking shredded coming into this fight. First of all, he's in a lot better shape, so that's a good thing for him. He's going down a weight division. He's going to be fighting against people that are a lot faster, a lot more athletic than heavyweights. And he's still kind of fat and out of shape. He's never been like, these guys aren't athletes. They're just literally just don't have any competition. It's like the heavyweight division in MMA, like for the most part, minus Tom Aspinall and stuff like that, is like WMMA versus basketball. Like flyweight, bantamweight, featherweight versus heavyweight is like WMMA versus NBA, like WNBA versus NBA. It's the difference in athletic ability, talent, and stuff like that. It's appalling. Junior Tafa's striking is okay though, and he does have some KOs. Tukos Tacos. Give me some tacos is okay. He's pretty average as well. People have Junior Tafa winning this. I think striking Junior Tafa is gonna have the advantage. I don't know if it was Justin Tafa or Junior Tafa I watched last, but they literally gassed out within like a second of like 30 seconds of the fight. Like it was actually appalling. I could see Junior Tafa like gassing out and just getting destroyed the second and third round. I also think that there's going to be a speed difference coming down from heavyweight to light heavyweight. I think a lot of the light heavyweight guys that are actually like, half decent will destroy most heavyweights. So I'm going to go with Tukos Tacos on this one. Tacos. We'll see. I think it's the right call in this fight. I think Justin Taffa could get the KO, but I don't think he's that good. Austin Lane is absolutely washed. Not even washed. Like, he never was good in the first place. I don't know how. Oh, so what is he doing with his posture? Is his spine broken? I don't think he's a good fighter. He's minus 500. Yeah, well, as he should. Vitor Petrino is actually talented. He's in the right, he's in shape. He's athletic for the division. He's well-rounded. Austin Lane really just is not good. So I think I'm going to go with Vitor Petrino getting this fight done. I think he's going to finish the fight. Not really like a shocking prediction. We got Morgan the Pirate Charrier versus Nate Landwehr. Nate the Drain. This guy's living right beside Bryce Mitchell. To drinking the gasoline straight out of the jerry can. Not the smartest tool in the shed. He kind of fights like Darren the Damage Elkins, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's a very cerebral fighter. There isn't a game plan. It's just, I'm going to try to impose my will on you. And a lot of times he does do a good job of that. I think he's like a better technical version of Darren Elkins. But is he good enough to beat Morgan Charrier? I don't think so. He could rock Morgan Charrier and then just outgrid him for a round or two. I could see him winning that way, but I just don't see Nate Landwehr. I don't see a lot of options for Nate Landwehr to win this other than just making a really, really gritty fight and kind of overcoming Morgan Charrier in the last 2 rounds. I think if it's a 5-round fight, I would give Nate Landwehr a chance to win this fight for sure. But I think 3 rounds is not enough time for him to get past the technique, to just outlast the technique of Morgan Charrier. Morgan Charrier is pretty technical. He's very athletic. He's got good striking, and he can KO you. So I'm going to go with Morgan Charrier for via TKO. Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. This is actually a pretty good fight. Steve Garcia looks like a wooden elf, but he's kind of just a marauder. He comes forward and he just throws haymakers and shit. He's trying to get a fight. He's trying to get a finish. Trying to get the fight. He's trying to start a fight. He's trying to get a finish. Calvin Kattar's good. I think Calvin Kattar's striking is technically way better than Steve Garcia. I think he can deal with the pressure of Steve Garcia. The question is whether he learns from his last fight and tries not to lose a decision. He literally, last fight, obviously Yusuf Zalal kind of ran, but he let himself lose a decision there, and it was so frustrating to watch. It's a 3-round fight. You have 3 rounds. You have to win 2 of them. You can't let yourself get outpointed in the first round. You can't let yourself get pointed again in the second round and then try to start coming forward. You've already lost the fight. So whether he can, I think Calvin Kattar has to keep the pace up with Steve Garcia, because I could see him losing a decision in this one if he gets outpointed again. I think he's a better fighter. I just think he can't let himself get outstruck, outthrown. Same as the other 2 fights I talked about earlier. For all these fighters, you have to have the ability to finish somebody, but you have to make sure, no matter what, whether you get a finish or not, you are going to be up on the scorecards, or at least trying to be. Obviously, if you're losing the fight and no matter what you do, you're not you can't keep up the pace, or you can't strike with this guy on an equal level. That's okay. That they're just better than you. But for the most part, you have to at least be trying to keep up a similar or higher volume. I think no matter what, a higher volume than the other person. First of all, it's going to create more openings for big shots if you're just touching them all the time. And you're also, you have the option to win a decision, where I think Calvin Kattar in the last fight didn't give himself an option to win a decision at all. It was okay, well, either I'm going to lose or I'm going to get a random KO, which probably will never happen. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. I can't go against my boy, Karate Man. Dude, he's so nice, but also who drives around in a school bus and picks up kids to go to karate class. Anyways, I do think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is a pretty good fighter. I think he's definitely older. I think he's got chances against Gabriel Bonfim. Obviously, most people are going to go for Bonfim, but I'm gonna throw a little underdog pick out here and go with Stephen Thompson. I think he could do a good job of staying at range against Gabriel Bonfim. Gabriel Bonfim's going to try to wrestle, kind of similar to what Joaquin Buckley did, where they're striking but also crashing the distance into wrestling and grappling. And Stephen Thompson's takedown defense is pretty good, and I think he'll have the upper hand in the striking. So I'm going to go with Stephen Thompson, and hopefully by KO. He's a big underdog in this one, so we'll see if we get that right. And then we got the tub versus the skinny tub. We got Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. Tallison Teixeira has got the craziest build, and so does Derrick Lewis, brother. These guys are built like differently, like they're almost opposite. Like they're almost built the opposite, but like with the same body mass index, like 167, 163, but like they're both one's skinny fat and one's just short fat. I think Derrick Lewis is probably gonna win this fight. I just don't want to pick this fight because it's gonna be a shitty fight. Like it might be like, oh my god, there's a crazy KO, or like there's a KO, but like the technical, like for me personally, watching as an MMA like fighter fan, somebody who trains, these fights don't interest me. Like because the actual skill level is like, even if there's a crazy knockout, the actual skill level is so low that it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I think that'll be one of these fights. Like you'll watch this fight and you'll be like, first of all, you're gonna look at your fat friend across the room and be like, you want to go be a UFC fighter? Like, go take a week like cardio kickboxing class and you'll be there. I don't know. Neither of the guys are very skilled. Derrick Lewis has a ton of knockouts. He could get a knockout over Tallison Teixeira. I could easily see him catching that chin and KOing him. I don't think Tallison Teixeira is going to have a granite chin or anything like that. I think if Derrick Lewis hits him with a clean shot, he's going out. So I'm going to go with that. It's a shame that this is a main event. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, it's Derrick Lewis, first of all. Like, I get when he had his main event in Houston or whatever, after, like, he was on a win streak, but come on. And then Tallison Teixeira, this is literally his second fight in the UFC. It's mind-blowing that this is our main event for the fight. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is my breakdown of whatever the hell this fight night is. And, yeah, I'll see you for the recap. Deuces. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe. We are on our way to 300 subs. All right, deuces.